Hello, I'm Ruth Martin, the translator of The Coral Merchant, Essential Stories by Roth. It's published by Pushkin Press and comes out on the 30th of April. And I'm going to read you an extract from what is probably his most famous story, The Legend of the Holy Drinker. It's the final story that he wrote, in fact, before his death in 1939. And this is how it begins. On a spring evening in the year 1934, a gentleman of mature years descended one of those flights of stone steps that lead down from the bridges of the Seine to its banks. There, as almost all the world knows, though it is worth reminding readers at this juncture, the homeless of Paris gather to sleep, or rather to bed down for the night. One of these vagrants now chanced to approach the gentleman of mature years, who was well dressed and gave the impression of a traveller keen to take in the sights of foreign cities. In truth, this vagrant looked just as dishevelled and pitiable as all the others with whom he shared his life, but to the well-dressed gentleman of mature years, he seemed worthy of special attention. Why, we do not know. It was, as I have mentioned, already evening, and down on the quays below the bridges, darkness fell more heavily than on the embankment and the bridges above. The dishevelled homeless man was swaying a little. He appeared not to notice the older, well-dressed gentleman. But the latter, who was striding straight ahead with an air of determination, and not swaying at all, had clearly seen the swaying man from some distance off. The gentleman of mature years blocked the dishevelled man's path. They stopped, and stood facing one another. "Where are you going, brother?" the older, well-dressed man asked. The other looked at him for a moment, and then said, "I didn't know I had a brother, and I don't know where my path will take me." "Then I will try to show you the way," said the gentleman. "But please don't take it amiss if I ask you for an unusual favour." "I'm entirely at your service," the dishevelled man replied. "I see that you have made mistakes in your life, but God has sent me to you. Please don't take offence at my words, but I'm certain you need money. I have too much. Will you tell me honestly how much you need, at least for the time being?" The other man considered this for a few seconds, and then said, 20 francs? "Oh, that isn't nearly enough," the gentleman retorted. "I'm sure you need 200. The dishevelled man took a step back and looked as if he might fall, but he remained upright, though still swaying. Then he said, "Of course I would rather 200 francs than 20, but I'm a man of honour. You may have got the wrong impression of me. I can't accept the money you're offering me, and for the following reasons. First, because I don't have the pleasure of your acquaintance. Second, because I don't know how and when I could repay you. And third, because there is no way for you to remind me, for I have no address. I live under a different bridge along this river every day, and yet, as I have said, I am a man of honour, albeit not of any fixed address." "I too have no fixed address," the gentleman of mature years replied. "I too live under a different bridge every day, but still I would ask you to do me this favour and take the 200 francs, a trivial sum in any case for a man such as yourself. With regard to paying it back, well, if you will indulge me, I shall explain why I cannot name a bank, for instance, to which you might return the money. I have become a Christian after reading the story of little Sainte Therese of Lisieux, and now I have a special reverence for that small statue of her that stands in the chapel of Saint Marie de Batignolles. You will find it easily, so as soon as you can raise this paltry 200 francs, and your conscience tells you that you should not owe this trivial sum any longer, please go to Saint Marie de Batignolles and place the money in the hands of the priest who has just taken Mass. If you owe it to anyone, then it is to little Sainte Therese. But don't forget Saint Marie de Batignolles." "I see," said the dishevelled man, "that you have understood me and my honourable nature perfectly. I give you my word that I will keep my word, but I can only go to Mass on Sundays." "Sundays, of course," said the older gentleman. He took 200 francs from his wallet, gave it to the swaying man, and said, "I thank you." "It was a pleasure," the latter replied, and disappeared at once into the deep darkness. for it had grown murky down there, while up on the bridges and the embankment the silver streetlights were lighting up, heralding a lively Parisian night.